Hey guys, so today I am back in my apartment, back at college as you can tell, and I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite hobbies that I've been doing forever, practically. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got started journaling, what my different journals are for, because I have like a billion of them, and maybe why you should consider journaling as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I've been keeping a diary since I was like 12, which is kind of crazy to think about because that means that I have like 8 years of my life written down in journals. The first diary that I kept was actually on an app on my iPod. I would say I used this diary for like a year. It was at the start of middle school and probably just all the way through 6th grade. Anyways, I know a lot of people have a hard time starting a diary because they say that they can't keep up with it or they forget to write in it. I never really had that problem, honestly. It came pretty naturally to me because I would write in it all the time. I would write about things that happened at school. I'd write about my friends. I obviously don't use my iPod anymore, and I don't even think that that app exists anymore, but luckily I decided that I was going to email myself all of the diary entries from my iPod, and I actually have a whole video where I read some of them, so I'll link that down below if you're interested. Once I realized though that these apps were not very trustworthy and they weren't gonna last me forever, I decided that I needed something that would last me forever, and that's when I started handwriting my diary entries. Sophomore year of high school, I bought my first journal to use for keeping up my diary. I haven't looked through this in a while, but I'm sure there's a bunch of iconic things in this journal that I could find. This journal lasted me about a year and a half, and every single page is full, all 256 of them. I went through this journal, and then I bought a smaller one, which I can't find, so I probably left it at my house somewhere. But I went through that journal in like 6 months, so I realized that I needed another big one. This is my third diary. That's right, y'all. I have 3 diaries, but not just 3, and mind you, every single page in here is full. I am now on my 4th diary. I haven't written in this one since August 1st, so it's been about a month, and what I've learned since keeping, oh my gosh, I never took the makeup off of my hand. What I've learned since keeping a diary is that, well, there's a few benefits here, okay? First of all, I really think it has made me a better writer. I remember in middle school when we read The Diary of Anne Frank, and ever since reading that book, I've been writing my diaries as if one day someone's gonna read them. And I think one day I might give my diaries to like my kids or like grandkids or like whoever. A lot of the things I went through are just like so middle school or like so high school, like you can't even believe it. The stuff that everyone goes through in high school and middle school. And one day I really do want to let like my kid read one of my diaries and realize that I went through a lot of the same things that they're going through, and I got through it, and like this is how I got through it, you know? So ever since deciding that I want my diaries to be readable, even if I never give them to anyone, I want to be able to read them and I want them to make sense. I try to introduce people. I try to let people know kind of like what point I'm at in my life before I go on with the story, just so like you have some context. And I really think that it's made me a better writer because I don't know if it counts as creative writing because I'm not making anything up. I'm literally just describing what happened in my life, but I mean, I've learned how to describe things really well, I think, and how to make my writing flow better because I want to be able to read it back and I want it to flow. So that's something that I kind of work on when I'm writing in here. Can you tell that I'm an English minor? Another thing that I've noticed since going back and reading through some of my diaries, which I don't do very often because oh my gosh, there's so much to go through, is that a lot of the things I was worried about worked out for the best. And when you keep a diary, you literally have physical proof of how everything does work out for a reason. It's also interesting to go back and be able to look at your life from an outside point of view, because a lot of times when you're so in your own head and, you know, in your own situation, it's hard to get perspective I guess. So yeah, that's just something that makes it even more fun. Like, it's fun to write in it, but it's also fun to look back and just see your life from a totally different vantage point now that you're older and you have some more perspective. So if any of those reasons sound enticing to you, then I would encourage you to start a diary as well. I mean, not only is it really interesting to look back at in later years and remember things, especially, well, okay, this is really morbid, but sometimes I'll write stories about, like, I don't even know if I want to say this. Sometimes I purposely write stories about family members knowing that they're not always going to be with me, you know? Like, one day I'll be able to look back at my diaries and find happy or funny memories with them. So I always make sure to write down some things here and there that I know I want to remember forever, but it's also good to write down things that maybe you don't want to remember forever, but things that you're like upset about in the moment. I know that's like the main reason why a lot of people journal, is just to get stuff out of their system and move on with their lives. That is the reason that I do it, but honestly at this point it's like a habit for me and I can't not do it because I've done it for so long that if I like miss a month or if I miss some really important event in my life, then I almost feel guilty for like not writing it down. I know that that was a lot of word vomit, but I kind of just wanted to have a conversation with you guys about, you know, why I do this and why maybe you would want to do this. So I think that's all I have to say about keeping diaries, but believe it or not, and I know this is so hard to believe, I also have journals for every other thing ever. It's getting kind of out of hand. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. But I'm just gonna go through these really quickly because maybe this will inspire some of you guys to get a journal for certain things that you might need it for, because it really helps me organize my life. Not only do I have 4 diaries, not including the 2 in my emails, I also have this beautiful notebook. I love it so much. It's so pretty. That I don't write in very often anymore, but for a long time I would write in it really frequently. And so it's really just a journal of miscellaneous things, but there's only like 6 pages left in it, so I've almost filled it up. I also have a journal for YouTube. This might not be relevant to a lot of you guys, but if you have a particular hobby or responsibility, maybe you should consider getting a journal just for that specific thing too. That way you can have it all in one place. So this is my YouTube journal. I plan videos in here. I write down video ideas. I have a lot of other interesting information. I also have a goals journal. So the reason that I started this one, I was listening to Desi Perkins, who is just one of my role models. I love her so much. She's a YouTuber and a makeup artist on here, but I just look up to her a lot as a person. So I still remember the one time when she was talking about a journal that she had where she used to write down all of her goals, and she realized after looking back through it that every single thing in there had come true. And she decided at that point that she wanted to keep writing in it because it felt like a magical journal. Everything she wrote in it eventually came true, and it was really nice to look back and see the progress that she's made towards her goals. So that was enough to inspire me to buy a journal for that reason. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, over the summer I lost all motivation and didn't write down almost a single goal, which is depressing. But before then I was doing really well, and actually writing down your goals is a great way to ensure that you're actually going to work towards those and hold yourself accountable. And I'm sure it's going to be great for me to one day look back at these and see that I've met all of these goals. And then finally, is this my last journal? This is like my last main journal. I have this one. It says relax on the front, and in here I write down any kind of motivational quote that I see that inspires me. I write down Bible verses. I've taken notes in here before, like during church, but I have yet to really pick it up when I'm stressed, and that was the whole point of it. I've written down a lot of things in here that inspire me, motivate me, calm me down, but I have yet to actually use them when I need them the most. And I think it's because when you are stressed and you really need some encouraging words, you're not thinking, oh, I should pick up the journal the stress journal with my own words. Like, you're not thinking about that, so I never think to do it. I have one more really big journal that I've been using to like write songs in and write piano chords in here, but I do enjoy the fact that it's really big. It makes me feel like I can just chicken scratch all over it and not run out of room. So that's something that I like about this journal. Okay, so yeah, moral of the story, I'm a very sentimental person and I like to keep things that mark where I am in my life right now so that I can look at them later. And I like to write, and I like to write things down to get them off of my mind, and I just really like to journal. So I hope that this video inspired some of you guys to maybe start some kind of journal. If it did, let me know in the comments down below, because that would be really cool. I'm curious. Let me know if you tried to journal before and why it worked or didn't work out. I've enjoyed talking to you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching, and subscribe if you're not already, because I post a new video every single Saturday for you all. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye! Hi, Reed.